In the first session today, we talked about the path from emergency support to long-term energy transition. But understanding what emergency support is a very good place to start. Can you imagine spending 35 days in the dark, sometimes in below freezing weather? The United Nations has reported that the average Ukrainian has spent 5 weeks without power, just in the winter of 2022. And power cuts are more than not being able to turn on the lights. They affect every part of daily life. Targeted by Russian attacks, the infrastructure for energy in Ukraine has been damaged. More than half of Ukraine's energy infrastructure. And early on, to support Ukraine's energy sector, the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action took a needs assessment from the Ukrainian Ministry of Energy. Business associations and companies in the German energy industry stepped up. The donation campaign is coordinated by the Secretariat of the German-Ukrainian Energy Partnership. We'd like you to look at a video. Welcome back to our afternoon session of the third annual Energy Day. We're here at one of the GIZ's buildings in the atrium, and this building is actually one of the 2 original buildings from Berlin's old business center. And it's fitting that we're talking about business here today. For our next session, I'd like to welcome Dr. Julia Rybak to the stage. She's an advisor to the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, and she's co-head of the German-Ukrainian Energy Partnership Secretariat. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you so much, Kari. Dear colleagues, I would like now to use my possibilities as a moderator and to invite to the stage the first honorable speaker, Deputy Minister Yaroslav Demchenkov, Deputy Minister of Energy of Ukraine. Please welcome to the stage. So, our next speaker, I would like to invite to the stage Pavel Stanchak, General Director of our Ukrainian Gas Transmission System Operator. Pavel Stanchak, you're welcome. So I would like to welcome at our stage Dr. Robert Herrmann, CEO of German Trade and Invest. Please. So I would like to welcome CEO of Ukr-Hydroenergo, Mr. Igor Sirota, please. So, I would like to welcome at the stage Rainer Peru, CEO of German-Ukrainian Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Please, Mr. Peru. I would like to welcome to our stage Adomas Saudikas, Head of Biomethane Business of MHP. Please, Mr. Adomas, up to you. And I would like to welcome Christiana Kastyanova, Member of the Board, Head of Energy and Energy Transition Committee of AHK Ukraine. Perfect. So, dear panelists, I think it is very important today to raise such a question: how really we can attract private sector to green recovery? Because our first session, high-level political session, was devoted, of course, to very important statements from Minister of Energy, from State Secretary, from Deputy Minister, from State Secretary of BMZ. But now I would like to have some focus on the core, I would say, of green recovery, business attraction and investment attraction. And I would like to ask the first question to Deputy Minister of Energy, Yaroslav Demchenkov. Yaroslav Demchenkov is also our political focal point of German-Ukrainian energy partnership. And I have such a question. How you foresee under German-Ukrainian partnership, how we can facilitate attraction of investments within the Ministry of Energy and Recovery target that you have under your energy strategy?
Are you tired? No. After this breakfast, lunch for dependent of people, yeah. You know, we never tired to do one not simple but very sensitive and important task for Ukraine. This is European integration. And the issue of predictability for business, the issue of transparency, the issue of good governance, and just one answer: European integration. We, as a country which have this war, would like to be fully integrated with the European Union. We try to use this opportunity, integrate our energy markets, fully integrated energy markets, and to have the same rules, to have the same doing business principles as in the European Union. That's why during communication with European partners, with Energy Community Secretariat, with the US, everywhere we try to have the same agenda European integration. And within our cooperation with European partners, we have a new program as a country which has now a new status, a candidacy to be a member of European Union. And this agenda in energy sector means integration of European energy directives, acquis, and adaptation our current legislation based on the European rules. And the first and important task we have emergency synchronization of our electricity grids, but we should continue this way. We should have transparent and independent regulator. We should have tariff policy which is open opportunities for doing real business. We have create conditions for green energy sector development. We have a lot of tasks, and government try to do everything possible to create conditions to integrate our energy markets and to have these rules. And you know, during our partnership, during energy partnership with Germany, we identify five areas of cooperation. This is, first of all, decarbonization of economy and energy sector. This is just transition, renewables, energy efficiency first, and the last but not the least, and hydrogen, yeah. This is five areas, and we have with German companies cooperation in these areas. And policy development, this is one of part of this cooperation. And this is really important both for public and private investors, and because we create conditions. We create conditions to do business, but first of all, European integration, this is the most important, to integrate our markets, to have the same rules. And here I saw our friend from Energy Community Secretariat, Dirk Buschle. We have as a member, as a contracting party of European Energy Community, we have to implement all adopted acquis. And as a candidate country, we have to adopt all acquis, not just only adopt it. And this is about remit, this is about market coupling, market operator, other rules. So it is, to have all of this will be very predictable and very interesting for doing business for foreign investors, because the same rules will be. And thanks for Energy Partnership for your support, for your commitment, and this is really important.
Thank you so much, Yaroslav, first of all, for really assessment of our partnership, because we are trying really to facilitate and to support Ministry of Energy, really, if we are talking about green transition and recovery. But my question is, yes, we were impressed by London conference, by the presentation of Ministry with regulatory reforms and policy measures that are under implementation in the wartime. But please, can you identify really what are the key challenges still facing in Ukraine for private sector, and how Ministry can collaborate with business? How Ministry foreseen this facilitation with private sector?
This question again, yeah, for me. Probably let's
That's
give
the last
opportunity for all of our panelists, because we have very distinguished guests. This is second my panel. In our energy sector, we identify that till 2050 we will try to have climate neutral energy sector. And this is very real goal, because Ukraine has everything what we need for this. Good people, good environment, good wind capacity, solar capacity, land, and everything possible. But also we identify our energy strategy that Ukraine will develop itself as a widely electrified as possible country. And this is issue, electrification of country, this is issue of energy efficiency. And that's why we need really significant inflow of investment in green electrification. And this is not just only issue of generation, this is issue of grid infrastructure, the issue of flexibility. Here we have a representative of hydro generation, and we see huge potential pumping hydro as a flexible resources for future increasing renewables. And I hope Mr. Sirota will share with you some of thoughts and ideas of this important company, which will have and increase significantly flexibility of Ukrainian future energy grid. This is important, but also in our reality, we understand that having more renewables, we will need more flexibility, long, short duration flexibilities, and also, Yulia, you know that we now develop some of updated legislation, secondary legislation about batteries. We will need such type of renewables additional in our grids to keep system resilient and the proper level of flexibility. You know that we have different priorities. We have different options. The first, of course, this winter, but after winter, I believe, and even today, Minister met with Dr. Habeck and Vice Chancellor and discuss. And the first message which we received, it was message that please. You should try to be resilient. You should be resilient during this winter. And this is the first task. But thinking about resiliency, we also think about our legislation, our reform agenda, our integration agenda, and this is one of the important tasks during winter to develop proper legislation. And here we have members of parliament in this representative of energy committees, yeah, and they did and will do a really great job to update this legislation. And in the parliament agenda, all legislation related to the European integration, related to the attracting international finance, affordable finance, this is at the top list of priority. And we cooperate previously with parliamentary committee about new legislation in renewables. And success story, ministry developed 4 acts. The committee updated some of ideas, cooperated with international partners, and now we have net billing system. We have a lot of ideas which will speed up this green transition and development of renewables in Ukraine. This is example when a lot of stakeholders, a lot of partners, business, members of parliament, civil society, and international organizations delivered a lot of ideas and important actions, and we will achieve, I'm more than sure, that good result in the very nearest future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deputy Minister, for really very, very encouraging messages to our delegates. So, about resiliency, I'm very honored to introduce you the statement from CEO of Naftogaz, Mr. Chernyshev. So, we would like to have this statement right now with some inspiring messages.
As Europe reshapes its security architecture,
I think that that message is quite optimistic and very important for investors and the key players of energy sector. So, and I'm moving slowly but very, very directly to our Pavel Stanchak, Deputy General Director of Gas Transmission System Operator. Pavel, yes, you are with us, with German-Ukrainian Energy Partnership, since the launch of this platform, very important political platform. And I would like you to share with us now your inspiring news, yes, we need it really, about ongoing projects. Ongoing projects, we are talking about, of course, green transition. What you bring to us today? Something good?
Yeah, so the system still exists, so this is good news. Second news is that we really work on preparing ourselves to understand which part of our system could be repurposed for the hydrogen, but this is the future. I think far future, but still. And there is another future which is very close, and this is biomethane. And we really start to the cooperation, and we would like to really enhance our system to such a level that is able to gather the gas which is biomethane from the distribution network if for example, the pressure will increase the pressure which is predicted in this distribution network locally. So it means that that will be new situation. Usually the gas distribution station works only one way. Today we are thinking about coupling this with the compressor station, very small one, we call it booster, which can inject vice versa into the high pressure. So this is what we are doing during the wartime. We wish to do more, but it is still in front of us, because to stop devastating the environment, at the first stage is good to stop the war, of course. Thank you.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Stop the war, that is important, but that's good news that really you are still on the implementation phase, and hydrogen still is important, I would say, target. And we do hope that soon will be not future, but our reality. What do you think, if we are talking about the German-Ukrainian Energy Partnership, involvement of German companies to modernization projects, to your green project that you named now, hydrogen, biomethane? What kind of facilitation you would need, and how you foresee the role of German government, the role of German business, and of course our partnership and the role of Ukrainian government in that process?
I have interrupted you. Message: stop the war. We have never started this war. We have never started this war. This is not our war, but our victory, guys. We have one crazy somebody in Russia who tried to destroy all European architecture of energy sector. Most of people in Europe was brought by Russian propaganda, their minds, manipulation everywhere in this market, 2 wars in Ukraine and Israel financed by terrorist countries. We should win this war as soon as possible. No other options, just win this war. And stop doing business in the energy sector with Russia, not just only oil, gas, coal, and other fossil fuels, but Rosatom, Rosatom, and all business related to the nuclear everywhere in Czech, in Hungary, in other countries. And Ukraine demonstrated that it is possible to replace Russian nuclear fuels. We had success story in Rivne. Just this is a correct message, not stop war, Pavel. We all don't want this war, but we should celebrate victory, our common victory, and stop this autocratic, imperialistic regime in Russia. And really, in future, I think we should have everything possible for better future for this country, because really amazing people with interesting history, with good nature resources, but without democracy. And we will change the situation together, and we will win this war for sure.
Yeah, winning the war brings ultimately stopping the war. So anyhow, what could be done to help us to prepare for the green transition? Of course, what is important, this is the best, in my opinion, helping Ukraine away. This is doing business with Ukraine. So it means that the projects, let them go. There are some areas in Ukraine when you can, in my opinion, safely starting projects and prepare the partners to cooperate in the future. What we need for this good preparation and for the good cooperation in biomethane era, in hydrogen, it is the technology and the human capital. It means that we have to learn how to deal with, for example, if there are good examples, it is difficult to find them in Europe, but if there are some good examples, how the hydrogen could be produced and transported, it's good to have such relations and exchanging of the information, as well as Germany is rich with biogas, biomethane producers, and maybe they are really thinking about investing. And then it's good to have such relations and also demonstration that ability to invest in Ukraine. So I can talk long about it, but maybe.
Thank you so much, Pavel. Yes, thank you. And again, Mr. Demchenkov, of course, stop the war. It is only victory, our victory. Just maybe some miswording, but for us, only one finalization of this really terrible, barbaric war. It is only our victory, and we are believing in it, and we do hope that it will come soon. With the support of our allies. So, doing business in Ukraine. I would like to give the floor to Dr. Robert Herman, CEO of German Trade and Invest. For us, very interesting, Dr. Herman, what do you consider, what are the most now favorable sectors for investments during the wartime, and what kind of success stories, cases you can give us in order to really understand how we can cooperate and support each other in order to attract investments in Ukraine.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like to give a brief introduction on Germany Trade and Invest so that you better understand who we are. Germany Trade and Invest is a government organization of the German government. We support internationalization. So we help German companies to internationalize. We have huge overview about information about foreign markets. We have market entry programs that we supply, or where we offer, bringing people in touch with partners in foreign countries. And we do the same the other way around. We have companies from foreign countries to do business in Germany, so that those companies can benefit from understanding a market, from understanding also being active in Germany. And last but not least, we have a tender platform where we publish, and we are the only ones that publish that, public tenders that are financed through official government donors, like everything that comes from the United Nations, from World Bank, from KfW. You find that on our website. It's all in German for German companies. So the idea in this regard is to help German companies to internationalize. The latter one, the data bank, is very relevant. We have today 151 projects on this data bank, only for Ukraine, from official donors, and the data bank is very much used by German companies, rank number 11, so that means the relevance for German companies is high. Companies tend to seek for opportunities, and they go to this website to get a better understanding what's happening in Ukraine. What we also did and published today is a bunch of information on 3 topics in Ukraine. First of all, we published information about the renewable energies market in Ukraine, where we publish or speak about the opportunities in renewable energy generation. So there is a bunch of opportunities. I don't have to tell you, you know that better than I do, but there's a government goal to extend renewable energy generation up to 30 gigawatts until 2032 from the Ukrainian government. So there is a strong interest in increasing the amount of energy generated. And there are already companies from Germany active. So there's Goldbeck with a solar plant or project. There's Notus Energy, there's DTEC, that's the name. So there are companies that are already active in this regard. There are several other companies that are active with regards to the tenders that have been published on consulting regions on developing projects, supporting the regions in Ukraine to help them to structure renewable energy projects for the future. So there are several projects in this regard. The second topic that we published today is about hydrogen. We have been talking about that already. There are a few there's a huge hydrogen perspective, especially if you see the amount that is possible on renewable energy generation. Hydrogen generation is very attractive for the German markets, for the German industry. So we seek the partnering in foreign countries, especially in this regard in Ukraine, to find opportunities to generate enough hydrogen that we need here in Germany. And the third program that we published today is about information about nuclear power generation. My understanding is that Ukraine is seeking for diversifying the resource for uranium generation, as well as the exploitation of the own uranium resources for nuclear power generation. So in this regard, there are also companies that have technology that are active in that regard. And we have the information on about that topic, these topics on our website, even with contact details to whom to speak with in the Ukrainian government or in the projects in Ukraine.
So thank you so much, Dr. Herman. Really very, very important. And I would like to give the floor to Mr. Peru, because our CEO of AHK Ukraine, because you need to leave. Yes,
thank you very much. Yes, I have a meeting with the government minister of Ukraine in 25 minutes. So I'll be brief, but you get 2 for the price of 1 here, because with me is Kristina Kasyanova. She is the head of our energy committee. In fact, we have 2 energy committees. One is on Energie and Energiewende, energy and energy transition. The other one is on construction and energy efficiency. And you see that, well, we put quite an emphasis on energy. Partly because the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action is our biggest stakeholder at the Chamber of Commerce. We have a membership department, we offer networking, we offer the work in committees. So if you are interested in working in an energy-related committee. Well, we have two for you. And we're also trying to get stronger on the service side. Over there is Simeon Mels. Please stand up. Simeon is our new energy guy at the German-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce. And he is at the disposal, of course, of our member companies, and also at the disposal of companies, well, that are just looking for information or for partners in Ukraine. And, with that, I would like to pass on to Christina for more concrete information on business opportunities as seen by the committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe we will looking forward for some insights after business forum that you were hosting yesterday. Yes, but I think we will have it under Kristina Kasyanova. Sure. Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Peru, for your involvement.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, and for the invitation. It's good to be in the panel. And I do not want to be repetitive, but it seems to be that I will be a bit repeating some of the key messages that you heard today. And I will stop probably at 4 things. So basically, I am speaking today on behalf of German-Ukrainian business. Let's say I'm heading the committee in German-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce. And I was quite lucky because in the committee we have all the leaders of the market. We have Siemens, we have Linde Gas, we have the tech, we have investors into solar, into wind, electrical solutions, geothermy, and and maybe I did not mention some of the committee members, but these are really companies that take the risk and now work in Ukraine and already showed significant results. So for example, Siemens has supplied more than 600 positions in the course of the last 2 years. Linde Gas has been on the market for decades. Rodina implemented Solar Chernobyl, the first solar power plant in Chernobyl, together with German company Enerpark. So there are quite a few examples of successful cooperation, and I think it is actually very important to give this demonstration. This is the words that I heard from from the previous speaker, that companies need role model and they need to see what has been done before in order to see the vision, what can be done in the next stages. So this is an important event where, let's say, state to state gives us the vision. It is good to know that countries agreed to cooperate, but then if we go to the level of business, this is where we need to arrange, let's say, the exchange. We need technical hackathons, we need technical forums where companies can actually get the experience from one each other. Particularly what I am speaking about. The word decentralization and resilience has been mentioned today like 50 times, maybe, I don't know, 100 times. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the responsibility of businesses now to be independent. So we don't know how far Russia would go, this year, in winter, spring, so companies need to think over a solution. So this solution, we already heard that the PV park, battery energy storage, you combine the profile of generation and consumption. But is it easy? No, it's not really easy. So you need experience of companies who already did it. So this is where German experience, I think, is crucial, because this country has been already a role model in energy transition, and this is where we can exchange, and this is where I see a big potential. I would allow myself a few comments about hydrogen, because I moved to hydrogen, about a year ago. And I think I'm confident that hydrogen can be done in a cluster approach. So in order to do hydrogen, you need to secure off-taker, producer, water, transporter, financing, state, and all of that needs to be coordinated. So if there is an initiative of one side and another side, so somebody actually needs to bring all these components together. I see this experience in Europe, and it is not very, I would say it's not very fast. It's a very complex technology. So I consider this as a potential of cooperation between Germany and Ukraine, where German companies can deliver this knowledge and experience to Ukraine. This was the third message I would like to say on behalf of our businesses. Vision. This basically, I was lucky to ask this question today of our Minister of Energy. You know, every investment is always based on predictability and analysis. So no business would actually invest money if they don't know when they have the return and the payback. So when businesses look into Ukraine, they have to expect complete absence of long-term planning. So now there is only short-term planning. It means that businesses have to be prepared to take fast decisions, to make small projects, pilot projects, and the larger investment probably have to be considered in public-private partnership, aligning with the state on the plans. So I think the vision which the businesses needs, this is where the Ukrainian side can communicate stronger and can be more comprehensive in order to boost the private sector. And the last, probably what I would finish on that. It is a responsibility of each company to understand where your, let's say, how your business would grow. So this is the right place, I think, to understand where you would sell the energy. If you are planning a large investment into a huge PV park or wind park, you have to consider that Ukraine will have a different profile after the war. So energy is a link to economy. You cannot plan energy without knowing where the country would go. So it is quite important to understand where our key enterprises will be located, what quantity of energy they will consume. And in this regard, I think it is important to align with large consumers. It is important to keep the dialogue with the state of Ukraine, because the economy, I mean, you will see a new Ukraine, you will see different Ukraine, we're not getting back. That's why I think, given the limited time, thank you for the time, and I'm open for the questions if you would like to discuss any German-Ukrainian cooperation in terms of Ahaka, Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Christina. First of all, we are really very thankful for your also cooperation with us. We are working, I think, very closely, and do hope that under partnership new phase, we will intensify our cooperation in order to facilitate really investment into Ukraine, into green projects. Hydrogen on agenda today, that's really so important and message for Ukraine. Yes. Hydrogen was today on agenda with our Minister of Energy of Ukraine at the meeting with Vice Chancellor Minister Habak. That's really encouraging for us. And yesterday there was very important MOU was signed on the Business Forum by our very important company Ukr-Hydroenergo. So green hydrogen will be soon, and that's a great news. I would like to give the floor to Igor Sirota, CEO of Ukr-Hydroenergo, for his speech. And we will need also a slide. Can you give us?
Доброго дня всім. Я хотів би наголосити, що гідроенергетика займає 16% енергетичного балансу в цілому світі.
I would like to say that hydroenergy accounts for 16% of all the energy potential around the world.
Це великий потенціал, який працює на всіх сегментах ринку.
This is a huge potential that works at all the segments of the market.
Окрім виробітку електроенергії, ви знаєте, що вона працює як в балансуванні, так і в аварійному резерві і наданні послуг.
In addition to energy generation, as you know, it also works for balancing and for other areas of energy sector.
Ми сьогодні говорили про війну. На жаль, у кожної компанії є стратегія розвитку. У нас була вона теж, але під час війни вписався ще один розділ. Це захист нашого обладнання і наших станцій, і це відновлення.
So unfortunately, we have this war, and before the war, we of course had our strategy of development, but because of the war, because of the martial law, we had to write one more chapter in this strategy, which is protection of our equipment and of our employees.
І ви знаєте, що великі удари ракетні були з минулого року завдані по всій енергетичній сфері. І на гідроенергетику по компанії, по станціях прилетіло більше, ніж 55 ракет.
As you know, there were a lot of missile attacks last year from the Russian Federation to the energy infrastructure objects in Ukraine, and there were 55 missile hits to this infrastructure.
Я хотів би вам навести один приклад, коли машинний зал Запорізької станції Дніпрогес-1, яка відома в цілому світі, прилітає 8 ракет, і станція працює по сьогоднішній день.
And I would like to give you one example of our resilience and of our resistance. There were 8 rockets that hit the equipment area of the Dnipro-1 power station, but it is still working despite all the negative consequences.
Але ми не опускаємо руки, і тому ми дивимося вперед, і тому ми розуміємо, що потрібно реалізовувати на майбутнє стратегічні проекти.
But we do not give up. We are looking forward into the future, and we understand that we need to implement strategically important projects.
На сьогоднішній день компанія протягом 2 років війни є фінансово стала і прибутковою.
Since the beginning of the war, during these almost 2 years since the beginning of the war, our company has stayed in stable condition and it's even profitable.
І вчора ми підписали меморандум щодо розвитку водню з нашим партнером, з яким ми більше 5 років працюємо, компанією Andritz.
So yesterday we signed a memorandum with the companies that we have been working for more than 5 years, and this memorandum is related to cooperation in hydrogen generation.
Ми хочемо розпочати будівництво пілотного проєкту біля 10 МВт і знайти внутрішнього споживача.
We would like to launch a pilot project which would generate 10 megawatt, and we would like to find internal consumers for this.
Не очікуючи, коли закінчиться війна, ми почнемо цей проєкт реалізувати прямо з цього року.
And we will start to implement this project as soon as possible until the end of this war, of this year, without even waiting for the end of the war.
Якщо ми говоримо про гідроенергетику, то нам потрібно ще розбудувати більше 3000 МВт.
Because if we are talking about hydro energy, we need to develop to generate more than 3000 megawatt.
Так, ми сьогодні думаємо, що ми будемо робити, яка економіка і яке буде планування після війни.
And right now we also need to understand what we will do after the end of the war, what we will plan, what our strategy will be.
Але ми точно з вами знаємо, що будь-яке, скажімо, відновлення, розбудова чи економіка, вона починається з енергетики.
But we all know that any economic recovery starts from the energy sector.
І тому наше завдання – бути готовими.
That is why our task is to be ready no matter what.
А для того, щоб бути готовими, ми повинні постійно працювати.
And in order to be ready, to be prepared, we need to continue working.
Ви чули вчора, як говорив прем'єр і міністр, що нам потрібна децентралізація нашої енергосистеми.
So yesterday you've heard our Prime Minister said that we need decentralization of our energy system.
Але яку ми розуміємо децентралізацію? Ми розуміємо, що є об'єднана енергосистема, але всі об'єкти, які знаходяться в регіонах, вони можуть працювати і децентралізовано.
But what kind of decentralization we are talking about? We know that we have this united energy system, but different parts of this system can work independently in a decentralized way.
Ми розуміємо, що росіяни мають нашу схему нашої енергосистеми, тому що вона була об'єднаною енергосистемою з росіянами.
We know for sure that the Russians have our scheme of the energy system because before it was united and worked together with the Russian
І
system.
тому сьогодні ми будемо будувати децентралізовану, скажімо, систему, де вона буде невідома для російської агресії.
That is why we need to develop, to build such an energy system that would be unknown to the Russians.
І вона буде менш вразливою.
And it will be less vulnerable.
Ми сьогодні говоримо багато про інвестиції.
Today we talk a lot about investments.
Я хотів би наголосити, що наші проекти, які є, там знаходиться більше 50% обладнання, яке виробляється в Німеччині.
So I would like to highlight that the equipment that we have, 50% of this equipment actually was produced in Germany.
І якщо реалізація наших проєктів буде вартувати від 4 до 5 мільярдів,
And if implementation of other projects will require investments in the amount of $4 to $5 billion,
то німецький уряд профінансує 2,5 мільярди своє виробництво.
it means that the German government will account to $2.5 billion for equipment.
І тому мені здається, що німецький бізнес має бути більш агресивним в співпраці зі своїм урядом.
It means that this money will go to producers of German equipment, and that is why it seems to me that German producers need to be more aggressive because they must be interested in this project.
Ми сьогодні не просимо подання, як говорять росіяни, подачку.
So today we are not asking for something just to give us for free.
Ми сьогодні вам пропонуємо співпрацю вигідну для обох країн.
Today we are offering you cooperation which would be favorable for both of our countries.
І сьогодні, не тільки сьогодні, а більше півроку і президент, і уряд, і міністерство говорять, що ми хочемо стати хабом енергетичним для Європи.
So for more than 6 months, our president, our prime minister, and all the government have been talking about the fact that we, Ukraine, we want to become the energy hub of Europe.
Згадайте 21 і початок 22 року, коли було дуже багато скептиків у Європі щодо можливості приєднатися Україні до єдиної енергетичної системи.
So, as you probably remember, in the end of the year 2021 and the beginning of 2022, there was a lot of skepticism around Europe about Ukraine joining the European energy system.
Були сумніви щодо стійкості, щодо можливості.
There were a lot of doubts in terms of Ukrainian opportunities.
Але, на жаль, практика і досвід протягом 2 років показали, що ми стійкі і що багато є ще чого повчитися в Україні.
But the practice, the daily life of these 1.5 years has demonstrated that Ukraine is very resilient, and actually you can learn a lot from us.
Тому в Україні ви маєте достойного партнера, і я більш ніж переконаний, що нас чекає хороше майбутнє.
So you have in the face of Ukraine a great partner, and I'm sure that we can expect a great future together.
Дякую вам за увагу.
Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sirota. I think that message are incredibly important now that really you will have a reliable partner. Ukraine could be a reliable partner even during wartime, and it's due to such a really successful project that you're implementing under your company. Thank you so much. I would like to discuss a very important also area of cooperation. Yes, hydrogen, we understand that's great, it's really ongoing. Biomethane. Biomethane is really, for us, the projects that are feasible, that really are ongoing in Ukraine. We have really a great development of biomethane market. And we are very happy to have with us today Adomas Audikas, who is representing the head of biomethane business MHP. Adomas, can you share with us your strategy of your company within this biomethane activities, how you foresee your cooperation with Germany, maybe some challenges, bottlenecks, and of course opportunities?
Thank you, Yulia. Thank you for opportunity. I'm representing MHP. MHP is, first of all, in food industry. We're the biggest poultry producer in Europe. And we always look where to invest. Energy is a very interesting sector. And we analyzed different topics. We, in fact, analyzed hydrogen. We spent a lot of time discussing this. We spent time analyzing wind and solar. And we also analyzed biomethane. And out of all these investments, we think that biomethane has the best future. Hydrogen is the ultimate solution, but we need some time for this. It's a long-term solution. And the reason is that the hydrogen molecule is problematic. First of all, it's very expensive. If you produce hydrogen, so the amount of energy that's in 1,000 cubic meters of gas, which is around historically 300 euros. In hydrogen, this amount of energy will cost you anything from 1,500 to 2,000 euros. So it's way more expensive. And this is only after technological problems are solved. So first of all, it's expensive, it's very difficult to transport it, it's very difficult to store it. This is why we think that hydrogen in the future is very good, but for now, it's not really the solution. So biomethane is, it's same as natural gas. We have infrastructure for biomethane because you can use the same infrastructure for natural gas. The only limitation with biomethane is that it is difficult to scale it. You cannot produce it a lot, but it's not the same for all countries. To produce a lot of biomethane, you have to have strong agricultural sector. And Denmark, for example, is already a proof. It's an example where you can see that 50% of all gas is green gas, it's biomethane in Denmark. So they actually developed the biomethane market already. Now, Ukraine has very, very strong agricultural sector. So that means that it has massive opportunity to produce biomethane. And we discussed today about problems of energy sector in Ukraine. We discussed that, first of all, we need to decentralize energy production. We said that we need to go green. We said that we need to think what we're going to do with gas infrastructure, which is very well developed in Ukraine. In fact, Ukraine has the best gas infrastructure in the whole Europe. We can transport 200 billion cubic meters of gas, but we're nowhere close to this amount because we don't have this amount of gas. And Russian gas transit, it will ultimately stop at one point. So we need to replace that gas with something. And you also need to attract investments. We always discuss about recovery of Ukraine, rebuilding Ukraine. We discuss about subsidies, but biomethane doesn't need subsidies. But you can invest and make money and can attract funding very easily. So biomethane ticks all the boxes. You can achieve them already now. The only thing is that we need to put some effort into this. It will not happen. I mean, economically it makes sense because Ukraine can produce it, Europe can consume it, we can ship it because we have infrastructure, but there are some issues. And those issues are not difficult to solve. And what I say that we need a biomethane program for Ukraine. I call it 555. So first of all, we need to produce 5 billion cubic meters of biomethane. 5 billion cubic meters is quite substantial. It's around 20 to 25% of Ukrainian gas consumption. This will allow to attract 5 billion euros of investments, not subsidies, but private capital. And this capital can be deployed. Our company alone can invest minimum 200 million euros in the next 5 years in this sector. And then it can be done in 5 years. So it's quite easy given this energy sector is very capital intensive, is very slow. It can be done in 5 years, it's very, very realistic. Then what needs to be done? We need to address regulatory barriers, not infrastructure barriers, not economic barriers, but regulatory barriers. So from Ukrainian side, we're already solving them, and I'm confident that we're going to solve. On the German side, we need to allow Ukrainian produced biomethane to be shipped via gas grid, because right now, biomethane that is shipped via gas grid cannot participate in German biomethane sector. So the market works as this, and it doesn't make sense. Especially doesn't make sense for the objective that Germany has, and I will explain. Right now, you need to produce biomethane in Ukraine, liquefy it, have it as liquid, then ship it to Germany, and then you can sell it. In this way, market works, everything is fine. But take into account that right now 40% of natural gas in Europe comes in LNG form, so it's liquid. And what countries need to do, they need to make gas of it. This process requires energy. Now when in Ukraine we liquefy gas, we also spend energy. And then we need to put this gas into trucks and ship it to Germany. That's more energy. And this energy is CO2, that's against climate. That's not solving climate, that's against climate. And plus it's economically expensive. So the solution is to allow Ukrainian gas, Ukrainian biomethane to be shipped via gas grid. Then we can do virtual exchange. We can exchange in a German LNG terminal. We take liquid gas and we put gas into gas form into the grid, and we just exchange. So we will not need energy for regasification, we don't need energy for liquefaction, and we don't need energy for transportation. So it's very easy to solve, and I want to ask German side to put another 5 into this 555 program, to spend 5 minutes considering of addressing this problem, because that will be good for Germany, it's climate, it's economics, and of course that will be good, very good for Ukraine. And that will allow also to export a lot of German biomethane and biogas equipment, because most of the equipment actually is produced in Germany. So it makes total sense, but this does not move very fast. These regulatory barriers, they are not solved very fast.
Thank you so much, Adomas. I think we have also good news, yes, because our minister, he also raised this question of biomethane export directly to Minister Habak during their meeting exactly today. And as we understand, you know, I think that soon that the situation will be kind of improved. So that's good news. Also, our energy partnership, you know, that since we were created, so we are supporting this important dialogue, Ukrainian companies with the German government, with German companies. I do hope that in the new phase, we will concentrate on, of course, on recovery, and biomethane will be one of the important focus within the partnership. In the next panel, we will have head of SAIE, Anna Zamazeva, and she will give also overview on a very important initiative that is implemented under energy partnership with head of SAIE and Dana, so development of biomethane register. So, but please wait for the session 3 for good news as well. I would like also to ask Adomas your vision on the investment attraction during wartime. What challenges your company foreseeing and what kind of perspectives you can identify? We understand you're the main goal now, the main focus, but would be important to understand the strategy of MHP.
Well, thank you, Yulia, for this question. What might be interesting for German side to listen is that when people ask what's changed in Ukraine, I say nothing changed, everything is the same. Actually, the country changed, but we adapted very quickly. So at the very beginning, when the war started, we transport 50% of our produce. So 50% goes from Ukraine to other countries, to Middle East, to Africa, to CIS region, and to Europe. And of course, our transport was based mostly on sea. We needed to relocate our transport to cars, mostly via European borders. And the infrastructure wasn't there, so it was very difficult to work. But in 2 months, we managed to build the same export capacities. So it was very quick, and we right now understand that we as a company are very resilient, and all businesses in Ukraine are very, very resilient. They adapt to all challenges, and I have very, very strong belief, even though I'm not Ukrainian, I'm Lithuanian, I spent the last 7 years living in Ukraine, that Ukrainians are the most resilient people I ever saw. And all these problems that we have, at least on the business level, they will be solved and business will adapt. And notwithstanding this conflict that we have right now, Ukraine is a very interesting destination to invest. I think that this war risks, they are a bit overblown. They are not as high as you really, as they really are. We invest in many businesses. We invest into production of prepared foods right now. We invest into biomethane. We invest into biofuels. We invest into a variety of other projects. And most of our investment based in Ukraine. And many other companies do the same. And when we talk with investors that would like to come to Ukraine, if you have good projects that make sense commercially, I really don't see problems to attract investments even now. We have a number of investors that want to work with us. However, as they say, you have to have reasonable project. It has to make sense financially. And we have quite a bit of projects that can be profitable and can be very interesting once regulatory barriers are solved. And it's not only related with biomethane, but in other domains. So what I'm trying to say, we have big portfolio of projects. We are a company that is happy to speak with any German investors, and we can show them how to work in this market. And I think it's very, very is the market with very big potential in the future. It's a market where you can produce and you can export. It's The country is very well located geographically, transport is very well developed, people are very hard workers. We always criticize Ukrainian bureaucracy, but it is way faster than European bureaucracy. I used to be Vice Minister of Economy in Lithuania, so I know how bureaucracy works. And Ukraine is way faster. So sometimes, as I say, we criticize it, but actually Europe is way slow on this.
Perfect. I think, Dumas, thank you so much. It's an important statement from you, and I would like also to support you completely. We do have resilient government. We do have resilient business. We do have resilient gas transmission system. And the most important, what Mr. Sarata said, we are a reliable partner during wartime. That's great. And our German colleagues, German Trade and Invest, AHK, could be our reliable partner and facilitate our green transition and support our green recovery. So colleagues, thank you so much. Dear panelists, you are really a real fighter. You are really very, very professional. Thank you so much for such a good, optimistic panel session. I think that this message will be spread for the whole German and Ukrainian community. Thank you so much.